In this lesson, we'll begin drawing a character within the boundaries of our fifth and final shape. Alright, so in the previous lesson, we finished refining the line work for this character right here, and our character lineup has actually grown to 4 now. So I tell you what, we've got one more shape here, and I think that we should probably go ahead and start bringing a character out of this shape as well. So let me just go ahead and zoom in on this, reminding us that, for this course we are focusing on drawing female shapes, and we've been kind of drawing stylized females, so we're not worrying about being realistic with this. As with the previous characters, we're going to go ahead and begin drawing this character by simply drawing an ellipse shape somewhere in the center of this shape. Now I'm looking at this shape before I draw this ellipse, and it's hard not to see hair here. I'm seeing again some of the nice really wavy lines in hair. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and bring in another ellipse. I'm going to go ahead and begin drawing that in here. We're going to go and do that at about a 30% opacity so we can layer multiple lines on top of each other as we're pulling in the shapes that we want. So I'm going to come in, draw in this ellipse shape. We're going to put that right about here. We're really laying the foundation for the face of our character. This ellipse is going to be the head that, or the base of the head that really connects to the spine, and then the face is going to sit on top of this ellipse. So we've drawn in our ellipse here. Let's go ahead and think about where the neck might be. Now, looking at this shape here, I think that depending on the direction we want this character to be looking, I think that the neck's going to sort of fall in line with that. So before we draw in the neck, let's go ahead and establish sort of a direction for this sphere and where the center of our face is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that in. Let's go ahead and pull it in right about here. And therefore the neck would be somewhere back in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that line down here, sort of the guideline for the spine and the neck. We're going to pull it in right about there, just like so. Now at this point, I would probably go ahead and start thinking about sort of the shape of our face. Now, typically a simple shape you use to develop a character with is going to create a fairly simple character. So, we've been sticking fairly stylized for right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just add in sort of a triangle at the bottom of this to create the chin of our character. And, I'm just going to kind of extend this ellipse on down just a little bit so that the chin is going to sit right underneath our vertical center here. All right, so there we go. And you know what? Before we start laying in sort of the map lines for the eyes and the other facial features, let's go ahead and start looking at some hair here. Now, I'm looking at this sort of this natural break right here, and it's hard not to see this as sort of a natural part in the hair. So I'm going to start here, and maybe we come down and bring in the hair sort of like this. Bring in a nice big tuft of this hair. Maybe this is really heavily styled hair, very stiff, very almost manicured type hair, stuff that's been heavily styled with some hairspray or something like that to get it to sit this far away from the head. So let's go and bring in this just sort of like this, mimicking these lines here. Maybe we have a curl here. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in this shape right about here and bring this down some, create sort of this opposite half of the hair. Now, at this point, we've kind of laid the foundation for the hair, and I think what I'd like to do is go ahead and focus on placing the facial features. So, in the last lesson, in the last character, we actually talked about placing the eyes in the center of our head, and that's a rule for realistic character drawing, and it works pretty well for doing stylized characters as well, but it's not by any means law. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in a line here, a map line for the eyes, and we're going to just wrap that around our head, just like so. Then we can go ahead and bring in the nose here, and maybe the mouth is right about here. Alright, so we've got those features sort of planned out here, and maybe we can come in here and start working on the neck just a little bit more, give it a little more heft to it, if you will. So let's come in and draw that in here, and let's think about maybe the angle of the shoulders. And now, we've got this nice tilt line here that's going to be sitting for our eyes. Actually, it's going to be more like that, and we've got lines here and here. So, let's go ahead and do a contrasting angle here for the shoulders. Maybe we put the shoulders sort of at this angle right here. I think that'll work pretty well. So at this point, let's come in here now and let's begin drawing some of these features. Now, a couple characters ago, we drew some really big, expressive eyes, and I think I want to go ahead and do that again for this character. Now, this is a glamorous female I'm sort of feeling, and maybe this is sort of a prom date, or a girl that's been made up for the prom. So let's come in here and just draw in some really big eyes, expressive eyes that maybe there's even some makeup that we can incorporate onto these eyes in some way, maybe some eyeshadow or something like that. So in addition to the the nice wispy eyelashes we've been doing, let's go ahead and maybe think about even some eyeshadow for this character. So if we put an eye there, we need to go ahead and put another one over here, and considering the corners of the eye, let's go ahead and map those out in the same position on this opposite side of the face. Now we're going to come in and draw this curve right here first. Now keep in mind that this eye is actually going to be a little bit smaller because it's wrapping away from us. It's further away. So if we're drawing this eye in perspective, then we need to keep that in mind. So let's come in and draw this eye just sort of like that. Again, the dominant curve for these eyes is going to be on the top side of the eye. The curve at the bottom of the base of the eyes is actually going to be very minimal in comparison. So we'll just draw that in sort of like that. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and place in these irises and pupils here, just to sort of get the direction of focus established. So draw in these eyes sort of like that. And maybe we have a very large pupil for this eye. Maybe it's really dilated and open really far here. And maybe we could actually come in and do a little bit of an eyelid. Just sort of like that. So we've got this nice eye, and I mentioned earlier that maybe we plan for some makeup or some kind of if this is a girl getting ready for the prom or some kind of a date, formal type date, then maybe we could go ahead and do some eyeshadow. So I'm going to do another curve right here, sort of mimicking the inner area of the eye socket that's above the eyelid, sort of between the eyelid and the eyebrow. Now I'm going to draw this in really lightly. Probably won't even end up inking this. This will probably just be for color application later on. Just to sort of map that area out. Now I'm going to come in here and do some nice wispy little eyelashes again here. Sort of like that. Let's just zoom out and see how she's looking. Looks a little bit sad, and I think that's because we have this iris recessed so far up into the area underneath her eyelid. So let's go ahead and maybe bring that down just a little bit. Let's go ahead and erase the iris and the pupil, and we'll get rid of those, and we'll just redraw that really quickly here. So let's maybe even make it just a little bit smaller. I know we were going for really large and expressive eyes, but maybe they don't need to be quite that large. All right, that's looking a little bit better, and let's come in here now and go ahead and draw in a nice large pupil again. All right, so that looks pretty good, and we could come in here and just add a little bit of shading, a little bit of hatching work here to this area in the eye socket above the eyelid, just to give that a little bit of contrast. All right, so that's looking really good. Let's come in and focus on this other eye at this point. I'm going to come in and do, again, the same thing. We're going to go ahead and add in the eyelid here. Just draw that in really quickly here. I want that to match up with the other eyelid. So naturally, if we're looking at these, this one actually we're going to see less of. So I'm going to end this eyelid a little bit higher on the left than the one ends on the right, right in here. So I'm just going to clean that line up just a little bit here. Bring that in right about there, just like so. Now, I'm going to come in here at this point and draw in this area for the eyeshadow again, just like we did with the previous eye. So, again, we're going to not see quite as much of this, but we're definitely going to see this. Just sort of like that. Then we'll go ahead and fill that in, shade it in just to get a little bit of a contrasting color there, contrasting value. So let's come in and draw in the iris and the pupil again. Now, we've got this one in sort of this position right here, so I want to match that position. Again, we want our character to be staring in the same direction. No crazy-eyed girls in this course. So we'll just draw that in just like so. right, that's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and move on here. And, we need to plan out for some eyebrows. Maybe this is, we think of a prom date. Maybe she's one that's been stood up for her prom. So maybe let's go ahead and give her sort of an angry eyebrow here. One that has a lot of angle to it. High sloping eyebrow. And again, if we have this hair covering, we're not going to see a whole lot of this other eyebrow. Maybe we just go ahead and add in a little piece of that right about here. We can always adjust those later once we get the hair in place, but let's come in and draw in the nose next. Now, this one's kind of looking down at us. She's kind of looking down the tip of her nose. So, I want to come in and maybe we draw a little bit more of this line right here and a little bit less of the underside of the nose. Now, we may still see the hint of a nostril there. Maybe we see the side of a nostril over here more, though. So, drawing in that nose here. Let's go ahead and move over to the right now and start thinking about an ear. Now we've got our eyes placed. Now we mentioned that the top of the ear is about even with the corner of the eye. So that's where I'm going to start for the ear shape. And let's go ahead and give her a fairly stylized ear here. Just kind of a nice round crescent shape that hangs off her head. And if she's made up and ready to go to the prom, she's probably wearing earrings of some kind. So let's go ahead and draw those in next. Maybe we give her a nice dangly type earring here. Let's go ahead and just draw in a rough earring shape. And maybe it's got a few little dangly things down here at the bottom. We can flush those details out in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and move back over here and let's go ahead and begin working on her lips. Now, I think of a girl that's made up and ready to go to the prom, and I think, this girl has probably got a lot of lipstick on. So let's go ahead and just draw in some nice lips here. But remember, she's been stood up for the prom, so she's not happy. So maybe we've got a little bit of a scowl building on her face. So we'll just pull that in just like so, and let's go ahead and draw in this lower lip. Make it nice and full, but yet definitely not smiling at us. So I've drawn sort of the contour of our lips here. We can flush those out in just a little bit, but you can see here how our character is really starting to take shape. Now, I think one area we've kind of neglected is sort of the area of her neck and shoulders. So I tell you what, let's come down here now, and maybe we come in and just roughly plan out for those two shoulders. We'll go and pull those in just like so, and let's just draw those in just like this. Roughly penciling those in. All right, so we've got those drawn in, and maybe we have this arm tucked in behind her chest just a little bit. So let's come in at this point and let's draw in, sort of think about the dress she might be wearing. If she's going to the prom, maybe she's got sort of a strap dress on. Maybe there's a couple straps here, and maybe she's got some poofy arms or little poofy sleeve type things going on here. So let's go ahead and just quickly draw those in. Just like so. All right, we're looking really good. All right, so let's go ahead and draw in sort of the top of her dress right here. And you know what, there may be some areas we need to touch up with this character, but I think that really she's really starting to take shape and she's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a look at her hair just a little bit and see if maybe we can't clean that up just a little bit and really kind of pull some of this out. So we've established that we've got this fold of hair right here. Maybe we've got sort of this, we can accentuate this part right here just a little bit as well. Let's come over here. Maybe we draw in sort of a less curved line right here to really add some style to her hair. And let's go ahead and bring this in and around and create sort of this curl right here. Now, I think that maybe her hair is, I would think that we might see the back side of the hair in this area right here. So being aware of this negative space, and this is going to be a darker color because it's kind of the inside of her hair, maybe we need to come in and draw this line right here to sort of really rein that hair in. So I'm going to come in here and work on this other side. And we'll just draw it in here, match it up sort of with the shape we started with, and thinking about the hair and how it works here in front of her ear. Maybe she's got it tucked behind her ear, sort of like that. And we'll just bring this down and around. Maybe there's another curl right in here. Let's go ahead and hide our shape right now and take a look at this without the shape. You know, I think we're looking really pretty good. I think that maybe, you know, when we add some color, maybe we could add some sort of makeup here right under our eyes. Maybe we have a sort of a stylized circle here that represents sort of some cheek makeup. We can do the same thing over here on this opposite side, just as a reminder when we're adding color, so we can put that in there. So, you know, in this lesson we have begun drawing our fifth and final character here. I'll go ahead and work on this a little bit in between lessons and polish up a few areas, and in the next lesson we'll pick up where we're leaving off and we'll work on the refined line work for this character.